Today on Inquirer. At least 300 aftershocks recorded after a magnitude 6 earthquake jolted Davao de Oro. The United States and the Philippines agreed to 4 new additional enhanced defense cooperation agreement sites in the country.
The future of the Philippines, and for that matter the Asia Pacific, will always have to involve the United States.
Senate Minority Leader Koko Pimentel says ICC probe on the drug war is not an issue to Philippine sovereignty.
This is not an issue of sovereignty because actually we should decide to cooperate.
And Department of Education to probe purchase of alleged overpriced cameras. Good evening. A magnitude 6 earthquake shook a new Bataan town in Davao de Oro on a Wednesday night. At least 345 aftershocks were recorded after the tremor, according to state seismologists. The earthquake, which was tectonic in origin, occurred 14 kilometers east of New Bataan at around 6:44 p.m. on Wednesday. Intensity 3 was felt in Davao City. Meanwhile, at least 345 aftershocks were recorded after the earthquake, according to Phivolcs. State seismologists reported that the magnitude range of the aftershocks as of 8 a.m. on Thursday was from 1.5 to 3.6. It added that only one of the recorded aftershocks was felt. In a televised public briefing, Phivolcs officer in charge Dr. Teresito Bacolcol said aftershocks are still expected for some days or weeks following the tremor. However, he said that there are no threats of a tsunami since the earthquake hit inland. After a magnitude 6 earthquake shook New Bataan in Davao de Oro, let's hear an update on the ground from the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office of Davao de Oro. Joining us live is PDRRMO Davao de Oro Head Joseph Randy Loy. Sir Randy, kamusta po dyan?
Yes sir, magandang hapon po. So far, the situation here in Davao de Oro, we are still on continuous monitoring on the different assessments conducted by our LGUs, including that of our teams dito po sa probinsya ng Davao de Oro.
Sir Joseph, nakakaramdam pa rin po ba tayo ng patuloy na aftershocks dyan sa Davao de Oro?
In so far as reports naman, we only noted those that has been posted by Phivolcs. But doon naman sa mga areas na naapektuhan ng lindol, so far wala kaming mga masyadong na itatalang aftershocks na felt ng mga LGUs doon sa kanilang mga kanya-kanyang reports na naibigay sa amin.
Para malaman ng ating mga kababayan, Sir Joseph, kung gaano kalakas talaga yung paglindol dyan sa Davao de Oro. Kayo, Sir, maaari niyo po bang ikwento kung nasaan kayo nung nangyari yung lindol? Gaano po ba ito kalakas?
Talagang malakas po yung lindol, gawa ng yung depth ng kanyang ng lindol itself is only 27 to 28 kilometers, yung lalim. So you will really feel the strong earth shake that you will feel doon sa gaya nito nasa video. You will really see na kung ikaw ay tulog, talagang gigisingin ka ng lindol na ito.
Kamusta naman po yung mga kababayan natin dyan sa Davao de Oro, Sir Joseph? May mga nasaktan po ba?
Based on our reports gathered from the different LGUs, mostly po doon sa mga nai-report sa amin ay minor injuries na nasustained ng ating mga iilang kababayan dito sa Davao de Oro, and they are also being managed by our NDRRMOs by providing first aid doon sa mga may injuries.
How about damage to infrastructure, Sir Joseph? May mga natanggap na po ba tayong report patungkol dito?
Yes, insofar as damage to infrastructure, one of those reported particularly in Monte Vista is the slaughterhouse that has been damaged. and also different structures relative to houses. No, we have around 10 partially damaged as reported in Compostela, and one totally damaged house. And also in Monte Vista, meron din pong dalawang partially damaged house dun sa kanilang munisipyo. And for Nabunturan, we were able also to note one house in Barangay Magsaysay that has been totally damaged.
Sir Joseph, how about reports from LGUs? Anong mga assistance yung ating naibigay na para sa ating mga kababayang naapektuhan nitong paglindol?
Sa mga LGUs naman po, they have the different preposition stocks, no, at their level, and each of the LGUs were also able to provide help, especially those evacuated, no, na mga families relative to the earthquake.
Dito nabanggit niyo po yung tungkol dito sa evacuation centers. Ilan po ang evacuation centers po natin diyan ngayon, at ilan po may datos po ba tayo kung ilang tao, ilan sa ating mga kababayan ang kasalukuyang doon muna tumutuloy pansamantala?
Actually, most of these families that were affected, no, yung lalo na yung nagkaroon ng totally damaged houses, are staying with their relatives. But the LGUs are also looking into them. And yung iba naman po na malapit lang doon sa kanilang mga kanya-kanyang bahay na nagkaroon ng partially damage, doon sila mas preferred na nag-stay din, no, malapit doon sa mga areas na yun.
How about yung mga importanteng mga infrastructure and facilities dyan po sa may Davao de Oro? Naapektuhan din po ba sila katulad ng mga ospital? Kasi yan, napaka-importante po niyan ngayon, especially if may mga takot na magkaroon na ng mga aftershocks.
One of our provincial hospitals, the Davao de Oro Provincial Hospital located in Monte Vista, ito po ay naapektuhan, and it has been assessed last night. And some of the areas in this particular hospital has been noted with cracks, no, na kailangan po talaga siyang hindi ipa-occupy ng iilan nating mga patients, and that's why there was a transfer of patients last night in one of the sports complex covered court dito sa munisipyo ng Monte Vista.
Okay, maraming salamat Sir Joseph. Mag-iingat po kayo dyan. That's PDRRMO Davao de Oro Head Joseph Randiloy. The United States and the Philippines have agreed to 4 new additional Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreements, or Edca, sites in the country, a move that was met with protests from progressive groups. To tell us more, here's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. Eric.
The United States and the Philippines have agreed to 4 new additional Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or Edca, sites in the country, a move that was met with protest from progressive groups. The country's Department of National Defense announcement came in light of the arrival of U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin III at the DND headquarters in Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City, for his meeting with Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. Earlier, Austin also paid a courtesy call to Malacanang, where he met with President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Marcos said that the future of the Philippines will always be linked to the U.S. because of the partnership that is advantageous to both countries. Austin echoed Marcos' remarks, saying that the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden is making attempts to further solidify the strong bond between long-term allies. The United States also allocated over $82 million for infrastructure developments or investments at the existing 5 sites under the Edca, according to the DND. Currently, there are 5 predetermined Edca sites located at military sites in Palawan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Cebu, and Cagayan de Oro City. In a related development, members of progressive organizations staged a protest at the front of Camp Aguinaldo along EDSA in the light of the announcement. The Bagong Alyansa Makabayan, who is among the protesters, said the country should not be allowed to be used as a staging ground for what the group calls a U.S. military intervention in the region. Labor group Kilosang Mayo Uno also called for the abolishment of Edca as they condemn what they believe to be a subservient foreign policy of the Marcos administration. The Edca was signed in 2014 to address Chinese aggression in the West Philippine Sea and respond to natural disasters. Neil?
Thanks, Eric. That's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. Next on Inquirer Today. Senate Minority Leader Koko Pimentel says ICC probe on the drug war is not an issue to Philippine sovereignty. And the Department of Education to probe purchase of alleged overpriced cameras. This is Inquirer Today. We'll be back shortly.
Ako si Eloise Jill Cadilo. Currently, student ako sa UP, pero at the same time, nagtatattoo ako sa sining tinta. Personally, na nagpapatattoo ako, hindi ako ganun ka-comfortable doon. So, naisip ko, lahat ng hindi ako comfortable with, iibahin ko siya. Light lang yung curation ng space para hindi ka natatakot pag nagpapatattoo ka, lalo na't masakit kasi magpatattoo. Nag-start ako mag-tattoo, hindi dahil gusto ko mag-tattoo. Bale, gusto kong kumuha ng tattoo. Pero at the same time, hindi ko afford yung artist na gusto ko. So parang inisip ko, bakit hindi nala ako magpaturo sa previous tattoo artist ko? Tapos, i-design ko yung tattoo ko and then ako gagawa sa sarili ko. Tapos, from there, yung una kong natatuan ay yung sarili ko din. So, mas naramdaman ko yung difference sa practice skin and sa skin nung ginagawa ko na sa sarili ko. Nagtatattoo lang ako sa apartment namin sa Kamuning. Tapos, marami na din kasi akong friends nagpapatattoo nun. Tapos at the same time, yung friends nila, gano'n. Hindi kaya ng space ko kasi sobrang liit lang talaga nun. Tapos mainit. Tapos, ayun, lumaki na lang siya kasi nung nag-start akong mag-tattoo, somehow may na-meet akong mga other women artists. Tapos doon namin nabuo na parang women's space talaga siya. Gano'n. Sining tinta, kapag English, ink art, gano'n. Yung pinaka-tagline kasi is malaya at mapagpalayang sining. Tapos, at the same time, yung artists ay puro women. Kasi marami sa clients ko previously, nagkukwento na they don't feel safe kapag puro male yung artists nila, gano'n. May ganong stories. I want to take that scare away, gano'n, yung that intimidation. And the only way na I can do it is if we strictly create a space na women artists lang din talaga. Future, we want to be able to expand this industry na mas maging accepting siya sa women artists na gusto pumasok sa pagtatattoo. Tapos, at the same time, sa mga clients namin, we want to break stereotypes. Makakapasok ka sa mga work institutions na may tattoo ka, ganon. Tapos, hindi ka madidiscriminate for it or walang notion of yung usual na iniisip nila na madumi yung balat mo. Mas accepting yung society sa people with tattoos and people who engaged in tattoos and piercings.
The International Criminal Court's investigation into the extrajudicial killings during the previous administration is not an issue to Philippine sovereignty, according to Senate Minority Leader Koko Pimentel. In an exclusive interview with INQUIRER.net's Inside Look, Pimentel explained that the Philippines should choose to cooperate as a responsible member of the international community. The country also signed the Rome Statute, making it a member of the ICC. This follows several officials calling upon the ICC to respect the country's independence, with Department of Justice Chief Jesus Crispin Remulla saying that he will prevent the ICC from imposing upon the Philippines, as the country already has its own judiciary. While former President Rodrigo Duterte withdrew the country from the ICC during his term, Pimentel said that the Philippines is still, quote, expected to cooperate with investigations covering the time period when the country was still a member.
This is not an issue of sovereignty because actually we should decide to cooperate. It's already the exercise of our sovereignty that we want to cooperate.
You can watch the full interview on Inside Look on INQUIRER.net's social media channels. Amid the furor over the purchase of overpriced computers, the Department of Education will investigate its 2021 acquisition of costly cameras. In a text message to INQUIRER.net, DepEd spokesperson Michael Poa said that the agency's Public Affairs Service has already been assigned to look into the allegations. According to POA, they would need to verify the type of cameras procured, specifically in the regions. POA issued his response after activist Renato Reyes tweeted a Facebook post of photographer June Dantes, who shared a photo of a Canon DSLR camera allegedly purchased by DepEd. A sticker on the device showed a price tag of over 155,000 pesos. Reyes noted that similar models are sold for around 23,000 pesos online, showing a screenshot of the price of a camera on an online shopping app. POA pointed out, however, that the Public Affairs Service of DepEd does not use low-level cameras, which are not similar to the entry-level camera in the screenshot of the shopping app. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Ervin Santiago. Ervin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito nga ang latest bandera chika. Ngayong 2023 na sana, balak magkaanak ulit ng aktres na si Ara Mina para sa unang baby nila ng asawang si Dave Almarines. Sa edad na 40 plus something, naniniwala ang award-winning actress na pwede pa rin siyang magbuntes dahil fit and healthy pa rin daw ang kanyang body. Nakachikahan namin si Ara Mina at nasabi nga niyang nagpa-check na raw siya sa kanyang doktor at okay na okay naman daw siya at caring-carry pa rin magbuntis. Hindi pa naman daw niya kailangan ng IVF or in vitro fertilization dahil marami pa siyang napoproduce na eggs o masasabing super fertile pa rin siya. Baby boy ang gustong maging anak ni Ara at Dave, kaya naman talagang nagre-research daw siya ngayon kung paano magiging lalaki or baby boy ang sanggol na kanyang ipagbubuntis.
Plano this year. Kaya ang dami naman din na projects. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa panahon ako mag-baby. Oo.
Pero nagpa-check ka?
Yeah.
Anong sabi daw ng doktor?
Walang problem. Oo. Pinag-aaralan ko kung paano maging boy. Kasi di ba sa mga Chinese daw, meron na nagbigay sa akin ng tip. So, ita-try ko yan soon para maging boy. Sa Chinese something. Oo, yun. So, para maging boy siya. Basta mag-work ako, kung biglang ibibigay, let's decide on my work kung sasabihin ko na naman sa mga producer, ay, buntis na po ako. Diba? So, gano'n, edi work muna tayo habang wala pa.
At yan ang bandera chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat, Ervin, and these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Catch Inquirer Today live weekdays at 6 p.m. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.